观众朋友，大家好，欢迎回来到了今天的国语英文嘉宾访问环节。其实今天在这个星期刚刚开始的时候，安省的财政厅长邓肯公布了新财年的预算案。所以今天我们的这个两位嘉宾，刚刚陈厅长刚刚结束访问，那么今天我们的这位嘉宾也是来自安省的一位厅长，他也是要跟我们聊一聊有关这个邓肯厅长刚刚公布的预算案的一些他的想法。非常高兴，我们今天请到了安省的房屋事务厅及原住民的厅长 Kathleen Wynne。Welcome to our show, Kathleen.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be back.
Yeah, last year, 去年的时候 Kathleen 来的时候 you were the Minister of Transportation.
I was.
And you have a new title this year.
I do. Now I'm the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing and the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs. So I have two separate ministries.
Yeah, and let's talk about the budget.
Yeah.
Because, well, Michael Chen there already mentioned that. And it's pretty much a lot of Ontarians, they're really focused on the budget.
Yeah, it's you know, it's been a big week for budgets.
Yeah,
we've had a provincial budget, we've had a federal budget.
Yeah.
The provincial budget really, it's important for so many reasons. We really had to put some measures in place to rein in the deficit. The most important thing we can do is to balance the budget and have a plan to balance the budget, because the international bond rating community is looking at us and making sure that we're doing the right thing to get the finances under control. We were hit hard by the economic downturn, and so we're growing out of it. We're climbing out of it, but we have to take some measures. So we are making reductions in a number of areas, but we're protecting education and health care, because they're critical to everybody. You know, whether you're a young parent with little kids and you want to make sure full-day kindergarten is in place, and we're going to continue to roll out full-day kindergarten. By 2014, all schools in the province will have, all elementary schools will have full-day kindergarten. Or whether you're a senior and you want to make sure that you have care at home. You know, if you don't want to go into a long-term care home, but you want care at home, we're protecting those frontline services.
So that's how it will impact our Ontarians.
Yeah, I think people need to know that that's our value system. Those are our priorities. But at the same time, we're making difficult decisions. You know, we're having difficult discussions with Labor about no increases in salary, and those are not easy decisions. But those are the kinds of discussions that we have to have in order to rein in the budget and balance the budget.
And as the Minister for Municipal Affairs and Housing, let's talk about housing. I know that the waiting list for affordable housing is really, really long. It's I got the number. It's like 152,000 households are waiting for affordable housing.
Yeah. So, I just want to make a distinction between there's different language that we use. There's affordable housing and there's social housing. And when we talk about affordable housing, we're talking about low housing for lower income people, not necessarily social housing. That is true. There's a long wait for social housing as well. But affordable housing can include rent supplements. It can be renovations to affordable housing, or it can be new units. And we have built 22,000 or renovated 22,000 new affordable housing units since we've been in office. And our budget includes money for continuing to do that building. But we partner with the federal government. So there's about $481 million that we're putting into building new affordable housing. Half of that is federal money and half of that is provincial money. So there will be new affordable housing and new rent supplements in many communities around the province. The big issue is that money will only last till 2014, so we have to have an ongoing discussion with the federal government about how to build more housing past 2014. Because lots of people who need housing are either young families with kids or seniors. And when we talk about seniors, not only do they need an affordable unit, either a house or a rental unit, they need supports. And it goes to that issue that I was talking about before. They may need a personal support worker to be in the building. They may need a house call by a doctor. And that was part of our budget too, to get doctors to go into people's homes, and particularly with seniors, to help them stay at home if they can.
Okay, and housing is a part of this is rent, right?
Yes.
A lot of people rent, and the rent guidelines being released, and the increase is for like 3.1%?
3.1%,
right?
yeah, 3.1% this year. What we did when we brought in new legislation for tenants a few years ago, we put a formula in place that means that the rent increase guideline, which is the maximum that a landlord can increase rent by, is 3.1% for this year, and we tied that to to CPI. So we put an objective measure in place. But what we have found is over the last few years, particularly last year, the rent increase guideline went up very high. And we know that that doesn't reflect people's real lives. People aren't getting 3.1 or 3.any% increase in their salary. So what we're suggesting is that we should put a new provision in the legislation that would say the rent increase guideline can't go higher than 2.5% or lower than 1%. So it recognizes that landlords need to have the ability to raise rent a little bit so they can make improvements and do the maintenance that they need to do. But 2.5% means that that's about the average that it's gone up over the last decade or so. And so that is more reasonable for tenants. The legislation is in front of the legislature right now, and we're still debating it. But if it passes, that would be the guideline that would be in place.
Okay.
Yes.
You used to be the Minister of Transportation, and Toronto is debating about whether we should get a subway or LRT, and you are the MPP of the Don Valley West,
yes.
Friday, as a Torontonian yourself. So which one do you prefer?
Well, first let me say that what the budget did was it didn't take any of that money away, that $8.4 billion. And you know, people have said, well, there's not much in the budget for Toronto. Well, that $8.4 billion is intact, and we are going to invest that in Toronto and beyond, because it goes into the GTA. So we're going to build the Eglinton line, and there's a big debate, I know, about the Shepherd line.
Yes.
And what we've said is that we need to work with council, and we need to respect the will of council. Personally, I believe that we need subways and light rail. You know, we need above ground, we need below ground. We're building the subway, the extension of the Spadina subway up into Vaughan. We're building the air rail link from Union Station to Pearson Airport. So we're doing a lot of investment in transit. And you know, in Markham, we're building bus rapid transit, and we're making big infrastructure investments to move people around better, because people in the 905 now want to get out of their cars. They want transit. I grew up in Richmond Hill, and in those days nobody got on the bus, nobody used the subway, nobody used streetcars, you know. We all drove cars, and so I think it's really important that we recognize we're in a culture shift, and we need above ground and we need below ground. So we're investing in all of it.
But if we build both of them, there's going to be a lot of standings.
Well, you know, it depends on the place. So as I say, the Spadina, the extension of the Spadina subway up into Vaughan is a subway. It's underground. Council has been debating whether they're going to have above ground or below ground LRT or underground subway on Shepherd, and I think they've made their decision that they're looking for LRT along that line. We need to work with council.
Since you're being elected since 2003, you've been the Minister of Education, the Minister of Transportation, and now you're the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Minister of Regional Affairs. A lot of titles. Which one do you prefer? And which one do you think that probably the hardest one?
Oh, you know, it's so interesting. I've been so privileged to have a range of experiences, and what I'm finding is that as I learn each new area, I spent a lot of time in education before I came into office. But as I learn each new area, I find the themes, you know, and it's important that we make investments that touch people's lives, and that we think about the future. So whether it's in transportation or in education or whether it's in municipal affairs, we always have to be thinking, what's the future going to hold, and how do we make decisions today that are going to be in the best interest of the future. So from my perspective, that's what this budget is about. It's about making investments in the future and getting the budget balanced so that we have a strong economy and we have strong communities. So that's the most important thing we can do today for the future, but at the same time, we need to make sure that kids have what they need and seniors have what they need on the health care front. So it's a balancing act.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming and joining
My
our show.
pleasure.
Thank you.
我
们非常感谢今天请到了房屋事务及原住民厅的厅长Kathleen Wynne 来到我们的节目，跟我们畅谈了一下财政厅长这个星期早些时候公布的一个预算案的情况。再次感谢他来我们的演播室。我们先稍事休息一下，广告回来再会。Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.